When I was 17, sitting in these same seats at Woodrow Wilson High, I thought I had it all figured out. I wanted to be a doctor, but I was terrified I wasn't smart enough to compete with all those kids whose parents were already doctors, who had tutors, who seemed to just breathe science while I was still learning how to study. So I made what everyone thought was a crazy decision. Instead of majoring in biology like every other pre-med student, I chose chemical engineering. My reasoning was simple, if stubborn. I figured if I could master chemical processes and complex systems, medical school would just be another system to crack. Plus, I'd stand out in applications instead of being just another biology major with the same volunteer hours and lab classes. What I didn't expect was how hard it would be. First semester at WVU, I walked into Calculus 2, feeling like everyone else spoke a language I'd forgotten to learn. I'd been the smartest kid in every class here in Beckley, and suddenly I was drowning. When I got a D on my first thermodynamics exam, I called my mom crying, telling her I wasn't cut out for this, that maybe I should just come home and work at the diner. My mom, who never made it past 8th grade but could solve any problem that walked into her restaurant, said something I'll never forget. She told me the only difference between me and those other kids was they'd learned how to ask for help earlier than I had. So I swallowed my pride. I went to tutoring, camped out in professors' office hours, formed study groups with people I was convinced were smarter than me. It saved my academic life, but more importantly, it taught me that being smart isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing how to figure things out. 4 years later, when I finally got to medical school, something amazing happened. While my classmates were memorizing metabolic pathways, I was seeing the whole system. The human body became the most incredible chemical processing plant I'd ever encountered. Glucose regulation worked like feedback control loops. The kidneys functioned like separation processes. Drug distribution followed the same principles as chemical reactor design. That detour I thought I was taking through engineering turned out to be exactly the preparation I needed. Now, when I treat patients with complex conditions, I don't just see isolated symptoms. I see interconnected systems where everything affects everything else. My engineering background helps me understand how particulate matter damages lung tissue in coal miners, how to troubleshoot medication interactions, how to explain medical procedures using systematic thinking families can understand. Your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Sometimes the longest way around really is the shortest way home.